You know, they say people are born free. Free to dream, free to love, free to live. Lies. The moment you took your first breath, the world put you in a cage. And the bars? Oh, they're not made of steel. No, no, no. They're forged from the expectations, judgments, and whispers of everyone around you. Every single one of them waiting for you to fail. You feel it, don't you? That weight in your chest, the ache in your soul when their eyes linger too long, their voices just loud enough to pierce your ears, but low enough to stay hidden. Look at him. He's too weak, too lost, too broken. That's what they think. That's what they want you to believe. They're like vultures circling above, waiting for you to drop dead so they can feast on the scraps of your dignity. But here's the truth no one tells you. They'll judge you no matter what. You could save a child from a burning building, and they'd still say you should have done it faster. You could bleed for them, and they'd complain that the color of your blood isn't red enough. People are hypocrites, my dear. Their mouths are swords, their eyes daggers, and their hearts empty. So here's my advice to you. Since they're going to talk, make it worth their time. Make every move you take a defiance of their expectations. Let their judgments be the fuel to your fire, not the water that puts it out. Let them choke on their opinions when you rise higher than they could ever dream. You think they'll stop if you're good enough? If you're kind enough? Oh no, sweetheart. That only makes you an easier target. The better you are, the more they'll hate you for it. The world doesn't applaud the virtuous. It crucifies them. They fear the strong, resent the successful, and despise those who don't bend to their whims. Let me tell you a story, a little parable of sorts. There was a man, a genius, a creator, someone who dreamed bigger than anyone else dared. He built machines that could change the world, inventions that could save lives. And you know what they did? They laughed at him. They mocked him, called him insane. They didn't see his vision. They only saw the cracks in his foundation. But you know what he did? He made them eat their words. He didn't stop, didn't bow, didn't crumble. And when his work finally succeeded, they worshipped him. But not out of love, no, out of fear. Because he showed them how small they really were. You see, people don't hate you for being weak. They hate you for showing them what they'll never become. Your strength reminds them of their own cowardice, your ambition of their complacency. That's why they'll do everything they can to tear you down, to keep you at their level, drowning in the same filth they've accepted as life. But you're not like them. You've got something they'll never have. Grit. The kind of grit that doesn't crumble under pressure. The kind that turns pain into power, scars into armor, and failure into fuel. You've been through hell, haven't you? I can see it in your eyes, the way they flicker like a dying flame. But here's the thing about fire. It doesn't die easy. Even when it's down to its last ember, it can spark an inferno. Do you know what you have to do? Burn. Burn so bright that their shadows can't even touch you. Let their judgment be the wind that fans your flames, not the rain that extinguishes them. And when they come crawling, begging for a piece of your light, you remind them of every word they spoke, every doubt they cast, and every knife they stuck in your back. But don't do it for revenge. No, revenge is petty. Do it to prove a point. Prove that their words mean nothing. Prove that you are untouchable, unstoppable, unbreakable. They'll call you arrogant, selfish, cruel. Let them. The same people who judge you now will beg for your forgiveness later, but don't give it to them. Their opinions were worthless then, and they're worthless now. You want to rise? Then embrace the darkness they fear. Let it sharpen you, mold you, harden you into something they can't even comprehend. They think they've seen pain. Show them what survival looks like. They think they've seen strength. Show them what resilience feels like. Make them regret every second they underestimated you. The truth is, you'll never please them. Not all of them. Not even most of them. So stop trying. Live not to be liked, but to be remembered. Live in a way that makes their whispers turn into screams. Succeed not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right. And when they judge you, and they will, make sure it's for something so great, so monumental, that their small minds can't even comprehend it. Because in the end, their opinions are nothing but noise. And you are the storm. So go ahead, my friend, let them judge. Let them mock. Let them doubt. And then, when you've built your empire, when you've carved your name into the very fabric of existence, you look them in the eye and say, "Thank you for doubting me. You made me unstoppable." You're sitting there, aren't you? Paralyzed, thinking about all the times you held back because you were afraid of what they'd say. The moments you bit your tongue, dimmed your light, shrunk yourself just to fit into their tiny, pathetic world. You think I don't know? I can see it in your posture, the way your shoulders slump under the weight of it all. But let me tell you something. Their opinions are chains, and you're the one locking yourself in. Do you know the irony of it all? The people who judge you the most are the ones who've achieved the least. The loudest voices come from the smallest minds. They sit in their safe little bubbles, throwing stones at anyone brave enough to step outside. Why? Because they're terrified. Terrified of risk. Terrified of failure. Terrified of seeing someone succeed where they've already given up. And you're giving them power? Them? You know what they deserve? Nothing. Not a second of your time. Not a shred of your energy. Because while you're out here doubting yourself, questioning your worth, they're sleeping soundly, oblivious to the damage they've done. They don't lose sleep over you. So why, oh why, are you losing sleep over them? Here's what you need to understand. The world doesn't reward the meek. It doesn't care about your pain, your struggles, your excuses. All it cares about is results. You either win or you lose. Know in between. And those people you're so worried about impressing, they're not on your side. They're in the stands, watching, waiting for you to fall. You think they'll cheer for you? Think again. They'll only clap when you give them a reason to hate themselves more. That's why you have to make it worth it. Every step you take, every move you make, you do it for one reason: to show them they were wrong. Not to prove it to them, but to prove it to yourself. Because deep down, you know you're better than the life you've been living. You know it, don't you? That fire in your gut, that ache in your chest, it's not weakness. It's hunger. It's rage. And it's time you let it out. Do you think the greats give a damn about what people thought of them? Do you think they played it safe? No. They were hated, ridiculed, cast out. But they didn't stop. They didn't cower. They didn't conform. And now, their names are etched in history. The world remembers them, not because they were liked, but because they were undeniable. You want to be liked? Go ahead. Keep playing small. Keep hiding in the shadows. But if you want to be remembered, truly remembered, you've got to embrace the hate. Let it fuel you, not break you. Let it sharpen you into something so fierce, so unstoppable, that they can't help but fear you. But here's the catch. It's going to hurt. Oh, it's going to hurt like hell. You'll lose people. Friends, family. The ones you thought would always stand by you. They'll turn their backs the moment you step out of line. The moment you start to shine too bright for their dim little worlds. And it'll feel like a knife to the heart. But that's the price of greatness. The higher you climb, the lonelier it gets. And you have to be okay with that. You have to learn to walk alone, to fight alone, to win alone. Because when the dust settles, when the crowds disperse, and you're standing there at the top, bloodied, bruised, but victorious, you'll realize that it was worth every scar, every tear, every sleepless night. You see, life isn't fair. It's a battlefield. And the only way to survive is to fight harder, smarter, and dirtier than everyone else. You've got to outthink them, outwork them, outlast them. And when they come for you, and they will, you don't flinch. You don't run. You don't hide. You stand tall, look them in the eye, and make them regret every second they underestimated you. Because at the end of the day, their judgment doesn't define you. Your actions do. Your choices, your resilience, your refusal to break under the weight of their expectations. That's what makes you, not them, never them. So go ahead. Let them judge, let them hate, let them doubt, and then make them regret it. Every word, every sneer, every laugh, they'll choke on it when you prove them wrong. When you rise from the ashes of their criticism, when you stand taller, then they're towers of mediocrity. When you show them what true power looks like, because they'll judge you no matter what. So make it worth their time. Make them wish they had never doubted you. Make them remember your name forever. You think you're the only one who's been judged, who's been spat on, laughed at, cast aside like yesterday's trash? No, everyone has scars. But the difference, most people let their scars define them. They walk around, dragging their past behind them like a ball and chain, crying about how unfair life is. But you have a choice. You can let your scars make you, or you can let them break you. Think about it. Every insult, every laugh, every betrayal, they were lessons. They weren't meant to crush you. They were meant to teach you. Teach you who's real and who's fake. Teach you what you're capable of enduring. Teach you that nothing can break you unless you let it. And that's the secret, isn't it? They only have power over you if you hand it to them. Their words are just noise. Their opinions, background chatter. It's you who decides what sticks and what slides off. So why are you letting them in? Why are you giving them free rent in your head? Evict them now. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a lion in a cage, pacing back and forth. The crowd outside laughs, points, mocks. Look at the king of the jungle now, so powerless, so tame. But what they don't realize is that the lion's not broken. He's waiting, watching, planning. And when the time comes, when the bars finally break, do you think he's going to sit there and take their insults? No. He's going to remind them why he's the king. That's you. You're the lion, caged by their expectations, their judgments, their lies. But your time is coming. The bars are weakening. And when they finally give way, you're going to roar so loud that the whole damn world will hear you. You've spent too much time trying to convince them, haven't you? Trying to prove you're good enough, strong enough, smart enough. But here's the truth. The bitter pill no one wants to swallow. You don't owe them a damn thing. Not your time, not your energy, not your explanations. Let them think what they want. Let them talk. Because while they're busy gossiping, you're working. While they're busy doubting, you're building. And one day, when they finally look up, they won't see the person they mocked. They'll see someone they can't even recognize, someone untouchable, someone unstoppable. You know what makes people afraid? It's not power. It's not wealth. It's someone who doesn't need their approval. The moment you stop caring about their opinions, you become dangerous, untouchable. A force they can't control. And trust me, nothing terrifies people more than that. Think about the greats, the ones who changed the world. Do you think they cared about being liked, about fitting in? No, they were hated ridiculed, even hunted, but they didn't stop. They didn't bend. They didn't break. And now, their names are immortal. They didn't live for the crowd. They lived for the mission. And that's what you have to do. But here's the kicker. It's going to be lonely. The higher you climb, the fewer people will understand you. Friends will fall away. Family will question you. And those who once cheered for you will turn into your biggest critics. That's the price of greatness. Are you ready to pay it? Because if you are, there's no going back. Once you step onto this path, you can't turn around. You can't unsee the truth, can't unfeel the fire. You either burn bright or you burn out. There's no in between. But oh, the reward. The moment you prove them wrong, the moment you rise above their petty judgments, the look on their faces will be worth every tear, every scar, every sleepless night. They'll look at you and see the very thing they fear most. Someone who didn't need them to succeed. Someone who thrived in spite of them. So go ahead. Let them judge. Let them laugh. Let them doubt. And then make them choke on it. Every word, every insult, every sneer, they'll eat them all when you stand on top of the world and look down at them. Because they'll judge you no matter what. So make it worth their time. Do you feel it? Now? That little voice in the back of your head? The one that's telling you I'm right? It's not me talking, it's you. It's the part of you that's been screaming for years, buried under all the fear, the guilt, the shame. I'm just the one who dragged it out into the open. And don't lie to yourself. It feels good, doesn't it? To finally hear the truth. To know that all those years you spent doubting yourself were nothing more than wasted time. Because deep down, you've always known you were more. More than the labels they gave you, more than the limitations they tried to impose. But knowing isn't enough, is it? You've got to act. See, most people stop at knowing. They get a taste of the truth, and it terrifies them. Because truth is painful. It demands something from you. It forces you to confront all the lies you've been living, all the excuses you've been hiding behind. And most people, they'd rather stay comfortable in their misery than face the discomfort of change. But you're not like them, are you? You're still here, still listening, still fighting that little war in your head. That's the difference between you and them. You've got the fire, the hunger, the need to be more than what they said you could be. So here's the question you need to answer. Are you ready to embrace it? To do what they never could? To walk away from their approval, their acceptance, their validation? Because that's the cost of freedom. That's the price of greatness. You think it's unfair, don't you? That you have to give up so much just to rise above? Well, here's the harsh truth you don't want to hear. Fairness is a lie. The world doesn't care about fairness. It doesn't care about your pain, your struggles, your sacrifices. All it cares about is whether or not you win. Look at history. The strong survive. The weak fade away. It's brutal, yes, but it's also beautiful, because it means you're in control. You're not a victim of circumstance. You're not some helpless pawn in their game. You're the one holding the pieces. You're the one who decides how this ends. But here's the thing about control. It's terrifying. It's easier to blame them, isn't it? To say it's their fault, their judgments, their opinions holding you back. But the truth? It's you. You're the one who's been holding the leash. You're the one who's been keeping yourself caged. And that's good news. Because if you're the problem, then you're also the solution. You've got the power to break free. You just have to want it bad enough. Bad enough to let go of the past. Bad enough to ignore their voices. Bad enough to risk everything for the chance to be truly alive. Do you know what they fear most? It's not your success. It's not your strength. It's your potential. Because your potential is limitless. And limitless people, they terrify the small-minded. They can't control you, can't predict you, can't stop you. So they'll do everything they can to keep you down. They'll plant doubts in your mind, whisper lies in your ear, twist your victories into failures. And if you let them, if you let their words seep into your soul, you'll become exactly what they want you to be. Small, weak, forgettable. But if you fight, if you fight, you'll become unstoppable. You'll become the very thing they feared. A force of nature, a storm they can't weather. You'll rise above their pettiness, their mediocrity, their limitations. And when you do, they won't be able to touch you. But it's not going to be easy. It's going to hurt. You'll lose people, yes, but you'll find yourself. You'll face failure, but you'll learn resilience. You'll confront pain, but you'll discover strength. And in the end, you'll be more than they ever dreamed you could be. So go ahead, let them judge, let them hate, let them doubt, and then make them regret it. Not with words, not with revenge, but with success so undeniable that it drowns out their noise forever. But don't mistake staying for standing. You've been sitting in the shadows for far too long, haven't you? Watching, waiting, hoping for someone to come along and pull you out of the pit you've dug yourself into. But here's the kicker, kid. No one's coming. Not your friends, not your family, not the ones who smile at you and tell you they care. No, they're too busy fighting their own battles, drowning in their own insecurities. And the ones who could help, they don't care. They're watching you drown, because it makes them feel better about the fact that they're drowning too. So what are you going to do? Sit there, hoping for a savior? Or are you finally going to stand the hell up and save yourself? You think the world owes you something? That it's supposed to be fair, kind, just? Let me tell you something about fairness. It's a fairy tale, a bedtime story for the weak. Fairness is a luxury reserved for the ones who already have power. And you're not one of them. The world doesn't owe you a damn thing. Not respect, not love, not even an ounce of decency. Everything you want, everything you dream of, you're going to have to take by force if necessary. Because here's the truth no one wants to admit. Life is a fight. A brutal, bloody, unrelenting fight. And you've been pulling your punches, haven't you? Trying to play nice, to be the good guy, to keep everyone happy. But where has that gotten you? Look at you, sitting here, broken, angry, lost. And for what? For them? For the people who turned their backs on you, who laughed at your pain, who judged you without ever knowing your story? You're bleeding out for people who wouldn't even hand you a bandage. But it doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to stay down. You don't have to keep letting them win. Because that's what they want, you know? They want you to stay small, to stay weak, to stay afraid. It makes them feel bigger, stronger, more important. But here's the thing about fear. It's a choice to let their words define you, to let their actions control you, to let their judgments cage you. And the moment you stop choosing fear, the moment you decide to fight back, everything changes. You want them to respect you? Forget it. Respect is for cowards. For people who play by the rules, who follow the herd, who live their lives trying not to make waves. But you're not here to blend in. You're here to break the mold, to shatter expectations, to rewrite the rules. And when you do, they won't respect you. They'll fear you. They'll hate you. They'll envy you. And that's exactly what you want. Because fear is power. And power is freedom. Freedom to live on your terms, to speak your truth, to chase your dreams without looking over your shoulder, wondering what they'll say. Freedom to be unstoppable. But freedom isn't free. It costs everything. Your comfort, your security, your illusions. And yes, it's terrifying. Stepping into the unknown always is. But do you know what's more terrifying? Staying where you are. Because if you stay here in this place of doubt and fear, you'll die a slow death. Not in your body, but in your spirit. You'll watch your dreams rot, your fire dim, your soul wither away. And one day, you'll look back and realize you've wasted your life trying to please people who never mattered. Is that what you want? To end up like them? Bitter, broken, buried in a grave of their own regrets? Or do you want more? If you want more, then you've got to fight for it. Every second, every step, every breath has to be a battle against their judgments, their expectations, their lies, and most of all, a battle against yourself. Because you're the only thing standing in your way, not them, not their words, not their hate, you. But if you can conquer yourself, if you can silence the doubts, crush the fear, ignite the fire that's been smoldering inside you for far too long, then nothing can stop you. They'll judge you no matter what. So make it worth their time. And when you rise, because you will rise, they'll all pretend they were with you from the start. The same voices that doubted you, laughed at you, whispered behind your back, they'll try to rewrite history. They'll say they always believed in you, always supported you. And you'll smile. Not out of kindness, but because you'll know the truth. They needed you more than you ever needed them. But don't waste your time proving them wrong. That's small-minded. Prove yourself right. Let your success, your strength, your survival speak louder than any words you could ever say. Live in a way that makes their opinions irrelevant, their judgments meaningless. Because in the end, their voices fade, but your legacy is eternal. So go, fight, build, burn brighter than their doubts, louder than their whispers, stronger than their hate. You owe them nothing. You owe yourself everything. And when the dust settles, when the world finally takes notice, you won't just have made it worth their time. You'll have made it impossible to ignore. They'll judge you no matter what. So make it worth their time.